What's your mantra? What's that one line you keep telling yourself that keeps you going every day?
I get up every day, and the day that I will stop is the day that any mother anywhere can receive quality healthcare without forsaking her dream of tomorrow.
Global Icon winner and medical director, Dr. Huwaida Bulhan, turns evidence into access and ideas into care so that dignity isn't a privilege.
The thing that makes a difference is the economic cost to things. And if you want to make a difference, you got to follow the money. So you have to talk about money. So you cannot actually dissociate medicine and health from economies.
Now, talking about big pharma and, of course, profitability, is that line between sustainability versus profit?
Africa only contributes to 1% profitability for big pharma.
So when you guys come to Africa, you're actually genuinely coming to help.
Yes. Coming back to the issue of access, we have it within ourselves to actually form our own solutions. It doesn't need to look like anywhere else. So access is a challenge anywhere, but what's underestimated about Africa is our creativity.
Which policies need to change?
Is by understanding that the thing that makes the world go round is it's not burden of disease, it's not human suffering, it is what is the economic cost.
If you've ever wondered how one person can move a system, stay with us. Classmates, because of your support, we are getting bigger and better. Becoming CEO has partnered with Fair Deal Furniture, the official licensees of Ashley Furniture Home Store, the biggest manufacturers of furniture in the world, where the chairs are very, very plush and the tables are timeless, and the only thing more polished than the wood is the wisdom. Here we don't just sit and talk, we strategize and we build empires. Becoming CEO isn't just a title, it's a lifestyle, and every legacy deserves the right seat. The whole team is making fun of me because of how super nervous I am, because today's conversation, we're delving into big pharma. So it's a big conversation. Have you ever done research and you're like, I feel you don't know anything? So on this one, classmates, I'm just going to be just like you and learn and soak it all in. And I am excited about the conversation. Our lecturer for the day is Dr. Huwaida Bulhan. Did I say that right?
Perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You should copyright that name. Like Beyonce or Madonna, Mona Lisa. I've never heard of Huwaida. Is it a common name?
That suggestion actually was made by one of my former bosses once upon a time. But no, it's not a common name in Kenya.
Right.
It's a common name in Egypt and Lebanon, as I learned later. And my mother picked it off an Egyptian movie she watched when she was carrying me.
She's one of ours. She loves movies.
Yep.
Okay. I love your mom already. This conversation will not start from where you think we'll start. So, the doctor and I, we got to bond over K-pop Demon Hunters over the weekend. We were chatting, we were having convos, and I was having kind of a moment. My daughter, nilikuwa nimempeleka salon. She's like, I need to get the hairstyle for, is it Huntrix? I don't even know the.
Yes.
Huntrix is the one with the dark hair.
You did well. Huntrix is the group.
Huntrix is the group,
Yes.
sorry. So the character who has dark hair.
I think it's Rumi.
You know these things. You actually know them.
Nimeingia kwa box.
K-pop demon. First of all, why are we watching an animation with the word demon? Let's start from there. Our parents. So yeah, I had a whole thing with a 5-year-old girl trying to explain to her that it's school time, you can't do this particular hairstyle, and your hair, and this hairstyle anyway.
Yes. Well, you did a lot better. At least you know how to pronounce Huntrix.
Okay.
My first attempt was Hunter X, and my 10-year-old died and was like, Mama, it's Huntrix. And it's like,
Right.
there's no I.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're 2 steps ahead of me.
But you're 5 steps ahead because you actually sang their song. Like, you know their song.
I think it was not out of choice,
Right.
but trying to meet the next generation where they are.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself because first of all, just your title. I'm like, I don't even understand what this means. Introduce yourself, what you do, and yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So my name is Huwaida Bulhan.
All right.
I currently work for a large pharmaceutical company called Hoffmann La Roche, shortened to Roche, in the world. And I serve as the medical director for Eastern Africa region and the head of clinical research operations for Sub-Saharan Africa. So I have a
Yes, let's expound.
dual hat.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm a medical doctor by training.
Oh, wow.
Born and raised in Nairobi, did my training at University of Nairobi. Started off my clinical career actually Kenyatta Hospital and then Garissa Hospital. At that time it was before counties.
This one, Kenyatta.
This big Kenyatta. I was very fit. The number of steps you do there is probably 30,000
In a
in a
Wow.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's where I started my medical career in the public sector.
Right.
And then I think that's what's springboarded me into other things.
So Kenyatta, then
Garissa
Okay.
Provincial General Hospital.
All right.
Yeah.
And then proceeded to
Then I went and did my master's
Okay.
in public health in the UK, focusing on global health and health systems. And then there I moved into the US. I think that's where I really got my exposure now into this world of clinical research
Okay.
that was still very foreign because it wasn't something that had taken root back here at home. And it was a steep learning curve, but it was a fantastic, I think, life education. And so after spending about 10 years away from home, I decided to come back and start looking for opportunities that would allow me to be productive back home. Yeah.
Classmates, I know the titles were very scary. The scientific words will even be more scary, but you and I, let's get stuck at clinical research. I think it's the one thing that excited me about this conversation because, I mean, every single day we need medicine, we need vaccines, we need, and we just hear there's a lot of research being done.
Yes.
But I've never actually met someone who's part of that process of doing the research. And why it's a big conversation right now, it's because it's coming hot off COVID, of course, and all the reports we're getting right now. But we'll get to that. One of the things I found on your bio is you say that medicine is not just a career for you, but a calling for you. I'm curious to understand that. And people write things, but when did medicine stop being a career for you and became a calling?
So as I've shared, I started my medical career. We usually say my clinical career because I still feel that I'm very much a medical doctor, but in a different setting and capacity. In the public sector here in Kenya. I think the huge turning point was when I did go to work in Garissa.
Okay.
And so that was obviously very early into my career, just second year. And there was a patient, I think, who really made me stop and rethink what my purpose was and what I was doing there. And so the setup, how it is in the public sector, in hospitals outside of Nairobi, or at least the practice at that time was as the medical doctor, and the title is medical officer in our system, then any cases of sexual assault, sexual aggravation would require the medical doctor to come and do the examination with that patient. In the healthcare worker system, you do have medical interns, and Garissa was an internship center. You do have nurses, you have clinical officers, but for that cadre of patients, that was always a medical doctor who would go. Now, a little bit prior to that, one of the things that I was training the team there, and I had the advantage of having a training course here that I took that was not mandated by anyone, but I found it interesting, was actually how to process sexual assault patients. And what do we do with the evidence?
Yeah.
Now, this is not part of our normal medical school training at all.
Yeah.
Right? It's very theoretical, but it doesn't tell you when that case comes in front of you, what are you going to do? So fast forward back to Garissa, it was tough. Those cases were tough, and they were there.
Yeah.
That was the thing. Many of the times they were gang situations.
Yeah.
And this one was particularly, I think, distressing because it was a young child. And so I step into the room and I see this lady with her young child. And, you know, my heart just dropped. And you have to compose yourself very quickly and start now the intake. And we talked. And then I'm the one who gets to examine that child. It's very traumatic, by the way. It's very traumatic. So what happened, though, was from her testimony, recorded everything down, and then we processed her per the training that I had received, that nobody else had done so, but I had shared with my colleagues there. And then I encouraged the mother to actually go report it to the police. I attached my medical report. And lo and behold, months down the line, I get this request to appear in court as a medical expert on that case. And the perpetrator was known to the mother. It was actually a neighbor. And so I ended up in court giving my testimony, and, you know, my words were there written. But because of the follow-through actions and that we had collected the evidence correctly, they were able to also forensically match it to the accused person. And he's serving a lifetime prison sentence. And for me, that was the moment where I realized my role in medicine goes beyond the direct one-patient interaction. And the patients that I also witnessed there beyond that one was a lot of the challenges that people were having were not just from a medical standpoint, it was a systemic standpoint. And a lot of the frustration or the apathy that you were having within the healthcare workers were systemic issues.
Right.
But that situation with that patient really made me understand that health, wellness, is about access. And access to the right care, not access to the right treatment, access to the right care, because that was still a patient. Number two, it was about dignity, right? And it was about hope. And I felt that day when I told the mother to go and report it to the police, I gave her hope that there would be something down the line. And thankfully, yes, it ended up her receiving justice, her and her daughter receiving justice. So access to care, dignity, and hope. And I realized my role in this space, I have to rethink it. I have to reimagine it. And it is way bigger than what I thought a career in medicine should be.
So this informed your decision to go now study the master's in public.
Yes, to understand now systems. Because you can be the best, most brilliant doctor. But you're working within a system.
True.
And if the system is not at par or the system is failing the patient at different time points, your brilliance really won't make a difference.
So you study the systems, then eventually you come back and your patients or Kenyans are not getting access, dignity, or hope. So where do we break this system? Or what is not working in our system? Why are we not getting access, dignity, and hope?
Well, first, I think it's also reframing
Okay.
that. So maybe it starts with the training that we have as
Alright.
healthcare workers.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that we frame access to healthcare as access to a medication, and we limit it to that.
Okay.
But that is not actually the definition of health and wellness, which takes care of the physical, emotional, psychological state of being of someone.
Yeah.
Number one. Two, when I came back, and I was very excited and very fortunate to now be able to implement my experience and my training back into, home, right? But I was told my training was far too sophisticated for what was happening in Kenya at that time in terms of the research space.
Yeah.
Our research was still limited to maybe government-funded projects or donor-funded projects.
Yeah.
Our research was limited to infectious disease, largely.
Yeah.
Yet, I don't know anyone who doesn't have a family member or doesn't know somebody with diabetes or high blood pressure. Right?
That is true.
And then the rise of cancer was starting. So this
Yeah.
is 8 years ago. It's
Yeah.
not too long ago. And so I was disappointed. I was really disappointed. I managed to come home, but I was not working in the system here. I was actually, and this is before COVID, I was working remotely from Nairobi, managing Europe. And so one of the things that I heard somebody say once was the thing that makes a difference is the economic cost to things. And if you want to make a difference, you got to follow the money. That's where Big Pharma sits.
Yeah.
Right? And I know I was really frustrated with not being able to do the work. And what was also shared with me was if the sponsor companies, which is the innovator pharmaceutical companies, are not investing in the local system, then every other party to it won't follow through. So for me, that became, that's where I can effect change.
Right.
That's where I need to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
You say that word and immediately people panic.
Oh, absolutely.
When somebody says Big Pharma, you go, oh my God. And it's scary. I don't know, for me at least, from where I sit, that they're the ones who will do the research. They're the ones who will deploy. So do they do that research for our own good or for their own good? I don't know if at this point we answer that question. No, we'll answer it later. Yeah, we'll answer it later.
No, I'm happy to actually
go
take
for it.
that on.
Yeah.
So, there's also another thing that we have to change, I think, in our training as healthcare workers, but also in our understanding as a society. We term medicine as a very altruistic profession.
Okay.
Right? Or career. And so it should be for the wellness of people, right? It should be from the goodness of your heart. It should be. But then where we all get stuck is we talk about access. We talk about health financing. Isn't that the biggest debate that's going on in our country at the moment?
Yes, it is.
So you have to talk about money. And you have to talk about systems that will allow sustainability for the long term, but also growth. So you cannot actually dissociate medicine and health from economies.
That is true.
Yeah. And it wasn't that I had to get that understanding to reconcile why I'm working in this space. It was when I said that's where I need to be to effect change. But what does that change go hand in hand with? And I talked about systems that need to change. One of the things that I feel has been limiting for us, has benefited us, but has also limited us, is having donor funding. Donations. It has not ignited in us our creativity, our innovation, and our enterprise thinking. we have waited for others to come with solutions and say they're going to donate drugs, they're going to donate vaccines.
Right.
We are in the program and we're happy to receive.
Yeah.
And for a short term, it serves a purpose, right?
Yeah.
It deals with whatever is the emergency of the time or whatever is the burden of that time to bring it down to a controllable level.
Yeah.
Then beyond that, how are we thinking about growth and sustainability? We've witnessed earlier this year with the geopolitical situation with the US government
Yes.
and the cut of that funding,
Yeah.
the Ukraine-Russia war that has reprioritized spending for European governments,
Yes.
and the cut in funding for health matters in Africa.
In Africa. Yeah.
It has spurred a conversation that I think is going to be beneficial for us at the end of the day.
I love it.
I love it too. And so when we come from a position of fear of big pharma, right?
Yeah.
Why aren't we in those spaces?
Point.
Why aren't we in those spaces? Because then that is the way that we can not only understand, but we can influence. And it is a for-profit part of healthcare industry.
Yeah.
Because it deals with scientific discovery and then production and manufacture of new therapies, which, yes, have helped humanity if you look at the history of mankind.
Yes.
And they're sustainable. They're sustainable from where they're coming. But we have never looked at health in that way on the industry side of things, right? And how do we then generate the economy that will uplift what we are getting as services as people who are living here? Because they're very intertwined. So Big Pharma is not, I know I always joke, even with my own family members, in our WhatsApp groups, you will have people express their opinions about Big Pharma, and then you'll have somebody say, "Oh, please remember who is Big Pharma," and she's here.
She's in this group.
She's in this group.
Yeah.
But I think the further we push away for-profit industry in health, we do ourselves a disservice instead of actually being part and parcel of it, instead of us growing our own innovation locally and thinking of the long-term sustainability of those innovations, and then us driving our own health agendas.
At some point, I was smiling and nodding a lot.
Yeah.
Because you said something that resonated with me. And the same exact challenge you're having in your industry is the same exact challenge that we're having in our industry. So with the film industry in Kenya, the reason it's never gotten really big is because a lot of the films are funded, yes, by organizations, NGOs. The very first experience of Kenyans with film was the US President Theodore Roosevelt shot his documentary, I think in 1910 in Kenya. So you can imagine what that did in terms of marketing.
Yeah,
Kenya as a hub for film. So we had an influx of Hollywood coming in. So we learned how to make films from Hollywood, which is very expensive. And then because of getting funded by organizations and NGOs, just exactly what you said, it killed innovation, it kills entrepreneurship. And so we are trying to redo that thing right now.
Rewrite the script.
Yeah. This is one of the reasons I love these conversations, because you sit across someone from a very different industry, and then you realize, wait, we're struggling with the same things.
Yeah.
It's not so far-fetched. And I love what you said about funding being cut. This is I have a couple of medics around in my world, and so this is a conversation we have a lot. And I was like, I'm sorry, you guys are losing jobs. I am very sorry. I feel the pain. You even related to me. I feel the pain. But I think this is the best thing that is happening to this country. Yeah, because I remember around that time watching a news item and I got really mad. The story was somewhere in, I think it was in Kisumu, Nyanza. It's one of the few times I watched news and I remembered why I don't watch news. And there was I think it was in church, yes. And so what happens is, in that area, there had been a lot of cases of teenage pregnancy. And so they started inviting the young girls to come to the church in the afternoon so that they talk to them, mentor them.
Yeah.
And as they leave, each girl would pick a packet of sanitary towels on their way out. But on this day, they were, because the news crew was there, they were like, for the first time, these girls will leave and there's no sanitary towel to go home with because USAID funding has been cut. I'm like, my God, there are only like 20 girls. You want to tell me we cannot afford sanitary towels for 20 girls? That is what funding has done to us.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I'm sorry. This is me rambling. So thank you for. But now talking about big pharma and of course profitability, I'm just curious, where is that line? Is that line between sustainability versus profit, affordability versus profit? And do this big pharma actually make money from Africa? Because I know the West can afford some of this medicine. And maybe you can touch on the company that you work for and the medicine that you guys offer so that people understand the context. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we have interesting conversations. Those of us, and we're not a big group.
Yeah.
We're a small group of medical doctors or medics, including our pharmacy and dentist colleagues who work in big pharma locally.
Yeah.
And we're forever arguing this point as to why can't our companies do more, etc.
Yeah.
But when you take a step back, Africa only contributes to 1% profitability for big pharma.
So when you guys come to Africa, you're actually genuinely coming to help.
Yes.
Are you serious?
Now,
Okay. Let's go.
and as we've just had, what we've discussed about, I don't encourage donations. I encourage conversation and collaboration and partnership for us to figure out, because we need to have long-term solutions. A donation is a very, very short-term fix for anything.
Yeah.
And so what most of us are tasked with is bridging that science gap and to access, right? Where does it make sense to actually have a certain medication in our healthcare system? Who needs it? And that we have to have a very good understanding, not only of the system, but who the patient is with that type of condition. The organization I work with has traditionally been very heavy in the cancer space.
Yeah.
Right. And that cost to the patient, to their families, is sending people into poverty.
True.
Right. We have rare diseases, we have chronic conditions, the things that people are not yet really talking about. And it's not yet very visible how much it's costing us, actually, as a country, and as a continent. And so when we talk about big pharma in Africa, I've given you what Africa contributes to the profitability.
Yeah.
We are not a big market.
Absolutely.
At all, by any means.
Yeah.
However, the commitment to all these companies, and I speak from the people who are inside and understanding our perspectives and the work that we do and what motivates us every day, is to make sure that we have safe medicines that have had data showing that they work and they are safe. And we work towards now creating access. And access is not just pricing, by the way. We had an experiment, the company that I work for had an experiment before I started working for them, about 10 plus years ago, where they were actually offering one of the drugs even for free. And there was no uptake. Because you need to understand what are the barriers for a patient to actually get access. And access is not drug pricing. Drug pricing is one component of access. Patients are not getting diagnosed on time, so they're not even getting to benefit from the therapy, even if it's sitting there on the shelf for free. right? So there's a problem. There's a problem with the system. So it forces us to really think. When it comes to drug pricing, I think one of the elements that many people maybe are not familiar with is drugs. Same drug has different prices in different parts of the world, in different countries. And a lot of that is pegged on the economy of that country and the paying potential. The healthcare system, how health gets funded. Do patients pay out of pocket, like most of us here? Do they have universal health coverage and the government takes it up, maybe like Europe or Canada, you know? Or do people have private insurance? Again, our market is very small if you actually look at the proportion of the population with private insurance. So your capacity to pay tiers. There's actually a country tiering system, and that then determines the pricing. But also, I think around pricing, a really important conversation needs to happen that many people also may not be aware of, so that it doesn't come into the into the debates that happen around why is this drug so expensive. So for innovator companies, which is where big pharma comes in, and they're the ones who have invested in the research and development of the drug. You'll hear of patents, right? Yes. You're smiling, so I think this is something of interest for you. You'll hear of patents, but then you hear of generics. Right?
Yes, I had patent. I was
all
like,
buzzwords.
I'm coming.
And generics.
Yeah.
And so what happens in development of a drug, and this is why clinical research is so critical and really is, I think, something that will be a mover and shaker for us, and why we need to invest more in it, is because it tells us, is this really working in our people? Right? Better or worse than other places? You'll be very surprised to know, I think one of the cancer drugs that is known to work and is standard of care now in Western systems, when we did a clinical trial here, it's working better than even the data that's already there.
Wow.
Yeah. For once, we're not on the back end where it's all negative and it's worse, right?
It always feels like it's all guinea pigs.
Correct. Right? And that, I think, has blown the minds of a lot of the oncologists, the cancer doctors. And I think a real opportunity for us to start changing the narrative. But it was important to collect the data. Right? So we talk about now that investment that is taken is the company that's paying for that research. Right? That's investment as well. The patent period allows innovator companies to be able to recoup the investment that I've made in the development and production of that drug up until that point. And I know people wonder, so how long do patents run? It varies. It varies. It can go up to 10 years. It can be shorter. It really is an agreement with international regulatory bodies around when will your patent run out? Are you actually recouping? What's the cost of the development of this drug? Have you made at least your baseline? Then after that, you open the market. Right? But even then, there is now what I'm sharing with you, the country tiering system, and really considering how do we get access to all patients everywhere, even the most vulnerable.
Let me bring it home kwa sisi wa Kenya wa kawaida. When I walk to a pharmacist and I want a particular medicine, and they tell me kuna original and there's generic, and I'm always asking, first of all, isn't that illegal? Like, why do you have a generic? Like, everything should be original. And then I ask them, so does it work in the same way? Yeah. So why the price difference? So most of them at that point, they're like, Philip, we're tired. Kampuni ndio tofauti. But, and I understand them. But also it's something we were having a conversation before. A lot of medical doctors and medical practitioners, all of you are trained so well. in
Right.
figuring and
Right.
in knowing the problem and the scientific reason why you're feeling a certain way and why you need this particular medicine because this drug will. But you guys are never trained on how to deal with humans.
We're trying to deal with the problem.
The problem, it's these human feelings.
Right.
I understand. So yeah, for me, what is that difference? Generic versus original.
Well, first, let me address your one point, at least, because I see that's a pain point.
Yeah.
Yes, we're trained to deal with the problem.
Yeah.
Usually because the problem may kill someone.
Very
so
important.
If you bring your emotions
Yeah.
and say, woi, this person, you forget to apply yourself to the problem. But it's not the beginning and end all. We definitely have gaps in how we're delivering care. This is also an ongoing conversation. Considerations in how healthcare workers are trained, and how we're interfacing. Before, you used to hear something about bedside manner of doctors.
Right.
Yes, that was it actually now. And nowadays, though, because of how complex chronic illnesses are, non-communicable diseases are, you realize somebody is not coming with a cold and then you just treat the cold and they go.
Right.
This person has diabetes, hypertension, they're coming with kidney disease, they're coming with maybe leg ulcers, you have to treat the whole person. So maybe to offer a silver lining, I think our approach in interacting with patients is changing. It's a bit slow to do so.
No, I actually understand where you guys are coming from. Me, I'm here to treat the disease. But it's so I'm not even faulting doctors. I think one of our favorite stars is Commander Pastor Nganga. And I remember one statement he said that he had just gone to the doctors and then daktari akamwambia sikule nyama na sukari.
Yes.
And I listened to him and I understood both sides because the doctor is like, okay, stop eating red meat. It's going to kill you.
Right.
And for him, it's like, I have grown up in poverty for so many years. I looked forward to the day I could afford and eat meat and sugar. And now you're telling me, so it's more of a dissonance. So I understand. Yeah.
But to go back to original versus generic. So generics are now, once the patent has elapsed for that originator, original company that developed that drug, then other pharmaceutical companies can manufacture the same drug. That's what the generic is. The formula has been released.
Okay.
They can make it.
Okay.
Right?
So it is the exact same drug. It's only that it's being made by a different company because the formula has been.
I'll
differ.
I'll invite you to my house.
Yeah.
I'll make my signature dish. You'll say, this is fantastic. Huwaida, give me the recipe.
Yes.
You'll go home.
Yeah.
You'll make it.
Yeah, it won't be the
and
same.
It won't quite taste the same.
Yeah. It's smoky pasua ya nyumbani, it tastes the same.
It has the same ingredients,
yes.
Right? So it may differ in taste, in something, right? And so maybe that's the best example that I can give. But they do work. Genuine generics do work.
Okay.
Now, because those companies didn't have, by their clinical research for a new drug takes 10 plus years. That's also something that you factor in now, all that investment, and that's why the cost is high. That's why you'll always find an original will be priced higher, right? I think one of the ways that we have now considered it is for, let's say, originals that we know at the end of the day are still the baseline best, right? But the patent has lapsed. It's been years, but they're still maybe an essential medication, first line treatment. It's still best case scenario. You would go for the original, right? Now let's work out, what does access truly look like? Yeah. That's different from maybe a chronic illness or a rare disease where there is no other treatment. Their access is an emergency.
Yeah.
versus one where you have many options. But yes, the original is still available and still proven to be the one that has the best results. So, like recently this year, the company that I work for, we have came into an agreement with the Ministry of Health to actually provide a medication that has been available on the market for 10 plus years now, but at a level that I think was unprecedented for people in terms of pricing. But the conversation was, how do we improve access for all eligible patients?
Okay.
And what does the government have to do to ensure, remember we talked about, is the patient being diagnosed right to actually get them to their treatment, right? What is the government doing on their part to be able to allow that? Because we can do a price drop, but it's not assuring access for the patient, right? And so that was what we then have partnered with the Ministry of Health here in Kenya to provide a drug for breast cancer.
Wow.
And it's national. It's not public sector.
Yeah.
It is available at the same price in public, private, and faith-based institutions. For me, that was one of my proudest moments in my career because access, dignity, and hope. Wow. Those are my drivers.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, yeah.
You do a lot of important work, and we're just here gallivanting and complaining.
You also do important work. It's part of wellness.
It's part of wellness.
Yes, to de-stress the mind.
Yeah. I mean, you've worked across Africa, Europe, North America. I'm trying to figure if there's a pain point in healthcare that feels universal, but and what is uniquely African that the world still misunderstands? A lot of your questions, I had to write them down because just to process my thinking. But pain points that are universal, but again, there are those that just are uniquely African from your experience.
I think, having lived and worked in the UK and then in the US and in Canada, and then coming back home and the work that I've done in the last 6.5 years, particularly across several African countries, it's access.
Access. Across the board.
Across the board. And it's funny because I think before I left Kenya, I used to imagine they figured it out. Maju. They figured it out.
Yeah.
People get what they want when they need it.
Need it, yeah.
Right?
Right.
But that's not the case. It's much more complex, and it isn't. You now hear of patients from the West coming to seek care here because they can get it at the time they want. They don't have to be on a waiting list for almost a year to see a specialist.
Oh, wow.
And that's when you discover it's access. It just looks different in different places. And the challenges are different. But if someone who's not well cannot get the treatment that they need in a timely way, that's access.
Yeah.
Right? Now, what's uniquely, I think, interesting about Africa is I don't think we have appreciated our level of ingenuity.
Okay.
And they say necessity is the mother of invention.
Absolutely.
We see it around us, but we don't actually think about it in that way. Beyond M-Pesa. We are very happy to talk about M-Pesa any day to anyone and say we discovered and we developed, mobile money.
Yeah.
But even something like community health workers being able to go to people's houses
Door to door,
is not normal.
Yeah.
It doesn't cut across
the world.
other places, and it doesn't cut across the Western world.
I hear it's one of the reasons the COVID uptake vaccine was very successful in
Correct.
Africa.
And that's why we didn't suffer the number of dead people as the West did.
Yeah.
When we talk about digitization, we take it for granted, yes, that we actually are very digitized society.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
That's why it pisses me off when something in Kenya doesn't work, because I know it's on purpose. Because Kenyans, the uptake, yeah,
the uptake.
Yeah.
So I'll share a couple of examples with you, which, for me, they really get my goat, because I'm like, here is the potential, here is the opportunity. We had a clinical trial. So clinical trial is ideal world setting, right? A clinical trial where for hemophilia, which is a disorder where people cannot clot their blood cannot clot.
Yeah.
And so it's really difficult for children because when they play, if they bump into something, they can end up in a situation that can be life-threatening. And so there's a medication, but in the trial design, all patients are going to go home with something that looks like a mobile phone, and they're able to reach their doctor anytime. They're able to input how they're feeling once a week, or at any time that they're not feeling particularly well. And in real time, it alerts the team, right? So interesting, there's a lot of kids who are in boarding school, but every time they had an issue or they needed to go see a doctor, then the parents needed to go pick them up and take them to but this way, they didn't need to. Right?
Yes.
Nobody lost their device. Nobody broke their device. No device got lost.
Wow.
When we had a breast cancer medication and when we talk about innovation, this is where it's really exciting.
Yeah.
Instead of sitting and delivering the drug via an IV, we all know, a drip.
Yes.
Right? You give it subcutaneously, which is just under the skin, like the way diabetics take their insulin. That's the simplest example I can give.
Yes.
A cancer medication. Now you deliver it that way. And we had a clinical trial where we debated very heavily because they wanted to test out, can this be home-based care delivery for cancer treatment? And our whole team with our colleagues in different parts of the world were like, the regulatory agencies would be very nervous about this. And I put up my hand and I said, in Kenya, we're ready. And they said, what do you mean? I said, we have community health workers. We have a system already.
Yeah.
And they said, no, we want to have a conversation with your regulator first. Are they actually going to allow this? And we did. We had a fantastic conversation with our regulator is PPB, Pharmacy and Poisons Board.
Yeah.
And they said, that makes sense. That will really decongest and take the burden out of the hospitals.
Yes.
And so the design was for about 3 months, the patient goes the normal way to the hospital, gets the drug. They are taught, they understand the experience. We make sure they don't have any side effects that are major. There's no allergic reaction. So they're pretty stable. Then we switch them to the home-based delivery. And, we could deploy that without having a vendor, a third-party company coming in to do that. We tapped into the system that was already there. The team needed to have a medical officer on board. That was the condition from the regulator as a safety guard. In case anything happens to a patient, you'll have a doctor there who can stabilize and rush the patient. But we did it. We've done it so successfully. That is innovation. Who's going to receive their cancer medication in the house? In the village, in rural Kenya. I'm not talking about Nairobi.
Yeah, you travel a bit and you appreciate this country.
Yeah, exactly. So we have things that are working and that can even work better if we just scale it up. So coming back to the issue of access, we have it within ourselves to actually form our own solutions. It doesn't need to look like anywhere else. So access is a challenge anywhere, but what's underestimated about Africa is our creativity, and that innovation doesn't need to be in big fancy hospitals, in big institutions, right? Innovation resides in our community-based practices, and we can do it.
Someone put it really well. I might not have the right words, but they said innovations in Africa work because we innovate to survive. So for us, it's not, we're not doing this because we're trying to build the next unicorn. No. We innovate to survive. And yeah.
So if we appreciate that and change our mindset into that entrepreneurial mindset, look at where we can go.
We're actually ready.
We are very ready.
We are actually ready. Someone also pointed out that what we see as common in Kenya is not very common out there.
No.
For example, anywhere you live in Kenya, unless it's like deep in the rural areas, there's a hospital or a clinic or a pharmacy just close by, walking distance. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that helps us rank really highly when it comes to healthcare. Sure. So you've spoken very highly about the government bodies that you've worked with, and I'm like, are we in the same country? These government bodies actually work for you. I'm like, we're in the same country.
Yeah.
And my question was just, how do we move from pilot projects to NPDFs and to actually make things work? Like, what are the exact decision makers and metrics that will force action? For example, what you're saying, like we start innovating our own drugs, we start doing our own research. Everybody knows this. Everybody has been talking about it. Yeah. So now let's move from the pitch decks and the PowerPoint presentations and get this rolling. Who will you task? Which policies need to change?
We still have a long way to go. So I've highlighted, but I think it's fair enough to actually highlight what is working.
Yeah, I love it.
Because sometimes I think we go down that pit, and even me, my spirit gets heavy with our problems. They may seem insurmountable, right? But it's good to also learn, appreciate, and know what is working, even with our government of present day. They were willing to listen. They were willing to consider. They were willing to be challenged. They were willing to challenge us back. But we found a middle ground. Right? And yes, we have, I think, I always say Kenya as a country, I think, has a PhD in writing and accumulating policies in PDFs. We have the best things written down.
Yes.
Implementation is another story altogether, right? And so the people who are tasked, the government entity that is tasked with that implementation piece, with changing policy into practice, in our country is Ministry of Health.
Okay.
And specifically the people who head certain programs who are sitting within that space. And the second entity is Treasury. Because Treasury has to then assign a budget line to make sure that things get implemented. Remember, I told you can't actually not have a conversation about health and finances, health and money, health and entrepreneurship. Are you seeing?
I am seeing.
All right? And the more we cause a divide in that equation, in that conversation, the more we do ourselves a disservice. Because we cannot have quality healthcare if we're not talking about the money. Right?
For sure.
And when I really think about it, and this was true even when I was developing a strategy for Sub-Saharan Africa in research. I'll share this example to give an example of how to extrapolate it. I came in initially giving the medical, scientific rationale, the human cost. Our population is like this, the burden of disease here. This is what makes sense to me. Me. As a scientist, to me as a medical doctor.
Right.
But the person on the other end agrees with me. feels for me, but is not compelling them to move and enact something.
Right.
So how do we move from our PDF policies into action? Is by understanding that the thing that makes the world go round is
Money.
it's not burden of disease, it's not human suffering, it is what is the economic cost. Now, the day that we start knowing and understanding that hospitalizations for high blood pressure and diabetes are costing us as a society and as an economy more than an admission for malaria,
Yeah.
because we have far more admissions for people who are in chronic conditions than an acute illness, right? Is when you sit up and you say, what? This is actually what is costing our healthcare.
Yeah.
When you have that budgetary line, you force people to now be accountable.
True.
That is what is going to be the thing that's going to turn us around. When we understand that the cost of not acting is costing Kenya people, our workforce, and our money.
Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to make the people that head these ministries to care.
That's the black and white of it.
Yeah.
Because we can go and say, look, this is how it's making me feel, this is what it's doing to my family, but that is not inspiring action.
Yeah.
We can be running out into the streets protesting. It's not inspiring the action that we want to see now. So we have to have a different but a hard conversation. What is it costing us?
I am going to avoid that rabbit hole because, yeah, the minute we bring in government, we'll just live here so angry.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will ask, you don't have to answer.
Yeah.
I understand the position that you sit in, but you get to sit and debate with a lot of this government, our government people. What happens? What is, why wouldn't they see what you're saying? It's right there. They see it, they agree with it, but they don't get to act on it. What is our problem as Africans? It's as if we don't prioritize our people and healthcare. And I don't get it. I don't understand.
I think that was what, for me, made my position as a medical doctor and understanding clinical research and its importance. And why I decided to pursue the change I wanted to see through that avenue. Because what I saw elsewhere, I understood data from research is currency. It's the biggest currency. You cannot argue with proof.
True.
And that's what data brings. Now, the way we have been doing research is, one, we have excluded private sector. And so we've understood how that is costing us.
Yeah.
Right? Number two, we have done really an excellent job at knowing how much of our suffering we have. But we have not done a very good job on what we call outcomes data, which is what is working, how well is it working, what actually is the impact. We count, we know how many people we have with which disease, what the incidence per year is. I'm sure all those everywhere. Those are easy statistics to actually get out of our country. But what intervention has worked? Number of hospitalizations per person with this condition. Actually, what is the cost of a hospitalization? What is the cost of the medication for that patient per year? right? Then you start, oh.
Yeah.
But this is the lived reality of someone, a patient. That is their lived reality, right? And so when I think of that, and I think back to the conversations that we had from last year into this year that I shared with you around the access for this breast cancer medication, we came with the scientific data that it works and it's safe.
Yeah.
But we also came with data with this is what it's costing you in your hospitals. This is what it's costing you from patients. Right? This is their perspective.
Yeah.
And so it was very difficult for the people across the table to argue back. The proof was right there. So this is what we are proposing. And when they went back to actually look at the data, and they have all the technical expertise by they sitting there.
Yes.
But when they went back and they looked at the information, they came and they said, actually, they're the ones who suggested this should be something that is not just for public sector. Actually, every Kenyan deserves this.
Wow.
And so we had a breakthrough. The good thing is, in this digitized era that we are in, I think there was also now an appreciation of what we're doing in terms of collecting the data, but what data are we collecting? So it's slow gains, but I remain hopeful.
Well,
I remain hopeful that we will be the shining beacon for our continent.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's work with hope. Let's remain hopeful. And we go back to something we had talked about earlier, we had just briefly mentioned, and that's clinical research. Yes. And first of all, I'm usually scared. There's some clips we'll see online.
Yeah.
And someone is openly saying there's this new drug, but we want to first go to Africa and test it, and then first of all, are those real actual clips? Ama hizo zinakuanga fake? Nowadays, I don't know what to believe.
I think you have to share that with me because I've not even seen such clips. Yeah.
Ah, man. I think
there's a lot out there.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yes.
I will share with you after this. But also now just coming from an epidemic that saw the whole world shut down, COVID. And how we were bulldozed to take COVID shots.
Yeah.
And kuna anti-vaxxers and, the whole debate.
Yeah.
And then now it's coming out that these vaccines were actually not efficient. In fact, some of them have messed up people's lives for good. And I'm like, they're big pharma, they're over there, they're making their money. What I want to know is here in Kenya, here in Africa, who protects us?
Yeah.
Who was that person who would have said, Kenyans, we're not just going to take this vaccine because people are telling us to take it. We have our own specialists. Let's actually workshop and look into this vaccine before we release it to the Kenyan people, because Kenyan people just don't take things unless we test them. Yeah, and it's that trust that is broken between us and Big Pharma, because the stories we're sold for are all about profit. Yeah.
I think to start off with, we definitely need to do a way better job at communication. Now, I shared with you how long drug discovery takes. And it goes through phases. We have phase 1 to phase 3 are the major drug development timelines before you can conclusively say this drug is efficacious, it works, and it's safe. And it usually starts with phase 1, which is first in human. So you test it on healthy people, in a very small group. It goes to phase 2, where now you're trying to determine the dose. And then it goes to phase 3, which is now usually a global experience, as many patients as possible that will say, okay, it's actually safe in all people from different geographies. And now we can produce it and market it and sell it commercially. The COVID pandemic was an emergency situation.
Yes.
And at the time, I still trust that people made decisions based on what they knew at that time.
Yeah.
Now, under normal circumstances, which is the drug development I've told you, then there is what we know as phase 4. And phase 4 is when a drug is commercially available. And now it is out in the open. It is not a controlled environment like clinical research. Kila mtu na shida zake zingine. They take the drug, it may interact with their diet, it may interact with their normal body biology, it may interact with other medications they're taking, it may interact with their mitishamba that they're at home with, that's part of their culture, and they have different experiences, right? The body that is responsible for monitoring what is happening, both in the clinical research space and even when it's out in the public, commercially, is the one that I mentioned, the regulator. And every country has a health authority regulatory body. For us, it is the Pharmacy and Poisons Board. And sometimes you do hear this drug has been out in the market and then it's been recalled.
Yes.
You've heard about drug recalls. This is because the safety information that has now come when the drug is commercially available is showing, kumbe it's not as safe as it was when it was that controlled environment in research. That was best case scenario. Now that it is out in our people, we're starting to see something different. You have to make an assessment, benefit versus risk. And so we do have many medications that are recalled. You know, certain medications, zilikuwa, then you hear it's out of stock, then you say, that one they stopped selling. It doesn't even exist anymore in the pharmacies that we have, right? Because there was a recall, because the information that came through was it's not as safe as we thought.
Yes.
Or the benefit risk ratio has changed. And so we're making a decision that this medication will not be sold here. So coming back to the COVID vaccine, at the time, the technology was there.
Yes.
So it was fast-tracked, right?
Yeah.
The technology was there and the basis for it had already been developed for a while. How the vaccine mutates, what we know about the virus, not the vaccine, how the virus mutates, what we know about it, we also had a very short window to study it. What we knew about the vaccine was immediate. It is efficacious, and it has remained efficacious. Its safety profile has changed. So those two always need to go together.
Okay.
Benefit versus risk. And yes, at that time, I don't work for a company that produced it, but understanding how development happens, even for vaccines, at that time, that was the knowledge that was there. Immediately after, you have short-term safety and you have long-term impact that we don't know. So right now, there's debate about, do we still need boosters? Knowing that we know, has the benefit-risk ratio changed? It has.
Yeah.
And so this is a conversation now to have now at a country level, because we're no longer in an emergency pandemic situation. A different decision can be made.
Okay. So what you're saying is, a mother in Kibera, in South Sea, in any part of Kenya, or any part of the continent, can actually trust big pharma, big pharmaceuticals. We should trust you guys. Yes.
I have a toddler child.
Yeah.
She has still got all the vaccinations that are there in the childhood vaccination schedule.
Wow.
And I'll tell you why.
Yes, please. Let's go there.
Even though there is a lot of conversation around vaccine hesitancy even now, and concerns about side effects. And it's true, side effects can happen.
Yeah.
We're not nullifying that. It was never considered, this is perfectly safe. It is a benefit-risk ratio, always. And it's a continuous monitoring, continuous evaluation. It's not a one-time thing. However, what we don't see as a public, and maybe what we don't appreciate, is what vaccination has actually brought in terms of the benefit for all of us over time.
Yeah.
When I was working at Kenyatta Hospital, where you see all the referrals from everywhere, right, that are sent now as severe cases, I witnessed a child who now had measles and the complication of measles as a preteen. And the suffering that child went through and eventually passed away, right, was devastating. I witnessed another child who died from tetanus. Tetanus. You know, we take tetanus shots as a joke, like,
Yeah.
you know, you were out, you were playing, you got into the soil, you're told, you have to have a tetanus shot. And then you're like, why?
Yeah.
But, and you know, those have stayed with me. Understanding, benefit risk ratio. So those of us who are in the system, you asked a question, should the mother who's in Kibera, in South Sea, in any part of the country, trust Big Pharma? We are consumers and beneficiaries of Big Pharma on a very everyday basis, even that Panadol that you're taking.
Yeah. True. That is true.
That is Big Pharma. Even the multivitamin that you're taking is Big Pharma.
Yeah.
But trust that, one, there's many more people like myself who are part of the system, who are honestly every day wake up to make sure that we have safe medicines that are available and that are accessible. Number two, we do have people and systems and colleagues in place whose job is what they call pharmacovigilance, safety.
Yes.
I have 2 people in my team. That is their job every single day. You know, to look at safety reports, that's it.
Every single day.
Every single day. And our systems, by far and large, do work. Had a situation where our regulator contacted us and said, hey, somebody has used one of your medications off-label, not for the indication that it was, but has used it before, but something happened this time. Something negative happened to a patient. We want to understand your safety profile. What are you guys seeing? But also understanding this was used off-label. Can we figure this out? Right? So we collaborate. We do a root cause investigation. Unfortunately, we found out that that particular vial, even though it looks very similar to ours, was a counterfeit. And was sold supposedly from a pharmacy to the health institution at a much cheaper price. So somebody thought, I've got a deal, nimeangukia. Imagine. You know, it was really, really sad. But what I was grateful for was the system picked it up.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
We dealt with it. So especially now that, as I mentioned, digitization, there's what the government is actually rolling out a track and trace. It is forcing all of us in Big Pharma to make sure that our systems can be uploaded. So every medication can be tracked and traced anywhere in Kenya. So if anything goes wrong, you'll know exactly who produced it, who supplied it, what the full procurement and supply chain is, how did it get to that individual. Yes. So trust that there are people who are doing what they're supposed to do. It's not perfect, but we're here.
Okay. Man, you're so positive. This is amazing. But let me throw this at you. Tomorrow we wake up, you're the CS for Health. You're the health minister. For the next, I don't know, 1 year or 2 years. I'm curious, what are some of the reforms you'd want to leave behind? You know, be specific, like whether law or budget line or standard of care. Yes. Minister of Health, Dr. Huwaida Bulhan. To make us, first of all, maybe I should start from Just to compare, but which country ranks highest when it comes to healthcare globally? If you have.
So health and happiness, for me, those are two important metrics. And usually it's the Nordic countries.
Yes.
I think the stress levels overall are lower in terms of pressures on maisha. And that translates into their health. Right? Whew, if I was CS of health, first, I don't want that job. I think if there's a position that is just under hot fire every single day, I think that level of accountability would scare me.
For real?
For real, for real.
Okay.
For me, that level of accountability would give me a lot of sleepless nights, especially understanding all the challenges that people have.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not going to be a position that's comfortable.
Okay.
For me.
So
but
you did abracadabra, you've woken up, you're the CS.
Nimejipata hapo. So I would start with what I've said I really feel is transformative. If I think about it. So data. So health data and transparency. And there's heavy conversations right now about very low trust levels with present-day government and especially our health ministry.
Yeah.
I think collecting the data, making it available in a way that makes sense to people. I think one of the things that I used to feel very empowered by as a patient when I was living in the US was, one, I could have access to all my medical records from my phone. There was an app. I didn't need to say, oh, what are they doing? Or what have they said? So it made me more responsible, but it also made me very empowered as a patient. And so access to our health data, not only at the patient level, but all partners, I think would actually be something positive.
Right.
The current mistrust, and, you know, it's easy to maybe misunderstand and cast your own conclusions because that transparency is not there.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
So people are on the defensive saying, no. But show us then.
Yeah.
You know, as we say, open the servers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that would be number one for me.
Yeah.
I think this would quell a lot of issues and it would actually move us into that innovation space where somebody will actually say, I see an opportunity here. I see the problem, I see an opportunity because I can find a way to fix it. And then it will foster more collaboration. And number two, where I said, follow the money. Right? I said Ministry of Health and I said Treasury.
Yeah.
We have to have protected, allocated budgetary lines that we're not pitching for every year.
Yeah.
When it's budget time. Dedicated to health. Right? We had an Abuja declaration. I'm sure you've heard of the Abuja declaration. It's thrown around a lot. That we're going to commit to 15% of our government expenses towards health.
Yeah.
We are still under 5% as a country. So if you give healthcare its right due budget allocation line, you look at it as what it's doing. Remember I told you the economic cost. And we talk about that.
Yeah.
Right? But you're revitalizing your people. You have a healthy workforce.
True.
That's going to be, you know, we're not fighting for the little that we have. We are growing.
We're growing, yes.
That chapo is going to be now a giant size. We were told to eat chapos. Yeah.
Yes.
So instead of a little one or a stack of them,
Yeah.
we just grow and then we make a bigger stack with bigger size.
Yeah.
And then we stop saying we have lack of this and lack of that. We've grown the chapo. Right? I think third element for me would be then standards of care. I think I mentioned we have guidelines that are usually done at an international level. We've been very slow to translate them into PDF policies into action, into something meaningful for us. But also, what is our standard? You walk into any chemist, you ask for anything, you're just given. There's no who's following what. Kila mtu does whatever they want to do in this country when it comes to health. The same disease is treated very differently in healthcare institutions, outside healthcare institutions. We need standards of care. It's not about curtailing. It is about really driving towards the outcome that we want, right? Which is health and wellness. So I think for me, as immediate things where I see that there's a long-term benefit, I would target those things.
Please, okay, I know you don't want that position,
No,
but
I really don't. Okay, I really don't.
Okay.
That pressure.
Yeah. Nisa, nilikuwa tuanze campaign, but it's okay. It's okay. You won the WOCIP 2024 Global Icon Award. Kwa sisi wa Kenya wa kawaida, because this is a big deal. I was made to understand it's a big deal. What is WOCIP? If I'm saying even, I don't even... WOCIP.
Yes.
I don't... Yeah, you say I was even saying it wrong.
No, it is an acronym, so it's fine.
It is an acronym. Yeah. What does it stand for? Why is it such a big deal?
Yeah. They've recently rebranded. Okay. So WOCIP stands for Women of Color in Pharma.
Okay.
It's a global non-profit organization
right.
Dedicated to actually supporting professional women within the pharmaceutical industry. They don't have to be medical doctors. They don't have to be healthcare workers. It cuts even from the accountant, to somebody working in safety. Anybody who's working within the biopharma industry, for professional development, for guidance, how to actually work in a corporate space. And for me, who joined the corporate space less than a decade ago, I really felt that I needed the support. But crazy enough, I was also the first African to become a member.
Okay.
Of this global organization.
All right.
And I always thought it was so crazy. It's women of color.
And they're South African?
We have a whole continent of us. It has now expanded. As I said, they've rebranded to One We Reach.
Okay.
There's been a lot of feedback that the benefit of the women who have been members and just the way the programs are curated should be expanded to include all humans. So it's not just women. So it's One We Reach. Okay. And two, it's not just Europe, North America markets. So now it includes South America. It definitely includes Africa. We are more of us.
Yeah. Sure.
So a huge piece of that was not only my support and development within the pharmaceutical space and just a corporate world, but it was also to highlight everything that we have talked about today.
Yeah.
The opportunity in Africa. Right. And to shine a light into our continent people felt was so far away, so closed off, and every negative perception that you can think of. I really felt I needed to be an ambassador for us to attract that investment, not only for other women on the continent, but also for the industry as a whole. Like, they need to sit up and take notice of us.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow.
So I was very honored to get the Global Icon Award at the end of 2024 last year.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I was blown away. So the first African member and the first African to win the Global Icon Award. Thank you so much.
I am a young girl seated somewhere watching this, and I want to grow up to be Dr. Huwaida. How does that path look like for me?
Wow.
And as you answer that, have the context of how AI is reshaping everything. Because from where I sit, I'm pretty scared of how many people AI is going to replace. Yeah, and so like I want to do what you do.
Yeah.
I want to focus on what you're focusing on. But in the next 5-10 years, will this still be viable? Yeah.
I think one of the values and ethos that I really, really resonated with and loved from the WOSIP organization. And I sit on the advisory council presently, so very honored to serve in that capacity as well, is we lift as we climb.
Okay.
So, and that for me holds true meaning, because whatever door I've walked through, I need to leave it open.
Yeah.
I need to hold it open for the one coming behind me. It means nothing if I have not done that, right? As a young girl, I think looking at me, and it's funny because my daughter does not see me this way. My older one, the little one, has
Those people.
Huntrix is
Those
what is
ones,
rocking their world.
No, by the it always be your own. Like, yeah, other people see us as heroes out here. Our kids.
Yeah. But I do have a lot of mentees, a lot of young women that I mentor, and yes, they do ask me that question. For me, I encourage people to trust their gut, believe in their capability. I think that's where you asked what's wrong with us Africans. I think that's where we fall short. The world has told us we are less than, and we have believed it. Right? And it's even harder for the girl child. Because you're supposed to be subservient at every level. You don't see kick-ass women.
True.
Who look like us there. So for me, I'm otherwise a very private person, but I understand the importance of that, of what the visibility is bringing, what the visibility is creating. For example, the WOSIP Award, it really gave me a bigger mic. And I had to sit with myself last December and say, so what am I going to do with this?
Yeah.
If I look back at my life journey, I mean, my parents were very sad when I decided to leave clinical practice and start this other thing that they did not understand.
What is this? What are you saying? Yeah.
And I remember them asking me, so you want to stop being a doctor?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so for me, coming from the context of my family, my community that I grew up with, and Kenya as a whole, I was going into uncharted waters without a blueprint. I would tell that girl, it's okay. It's okay to try. It's okay to fail. It's okay to grow. But you don't have to do it alone. First, it's okay, and you don't have to do it alone.
Right.
That is what I hope to be able to inculcate in every person that I am interacting with and impacting. How are you passing it forward? Because we have to uplift each other. So that's what I'd tell that young girl. Okay. One, you have the power in you. I think my biggest impactful human being was my late grandfather, my maternal grandfather. Okay. And I didn't know what he was saying to me at the time, but his voice rings in my head even today, even though it's been exactly 30 years since he passed away. But I was the first grandchild, and he always used to tell me, you are as smart as any boy. In fact, you're probably smarter than all the boys in this room. He used to say that. And of course, as a child, you're like, what? You don't think much about it. But as you grow, there are things that are trying to put you in a box.
Right.
Trying to tell you that you should be this way and this is who you are. I've never fitted in any box.
Thank God, man. First of all, boxes are squares. Who wants to be square shaped?
And I credit, honestly, to that man who gave me the permission Because that's what he did. Yeah. By telling me something like that repeatedly over and over and over until I was in my mid-teens, to say, you're smart as any boy. Nothing should hold you back. And with that, it has given me the permission my entire life. And so that's the same thing that I tell girls. Just to give them permission. By seeing me, first of all, they know whatever is in their mind and their imagination, it's possible. And two, I'm giving you permission to break the mold. Bring your best self.
You write a lot. You're good with words on LinkedIn. So my assumption is you're also an avid reader. Okay. Top 3 books for our classmates.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Top 3 books.
Yes.
Just lifting off.
Yeah.
Just the point right now. One of the most interesting books for me was by Shonda Rhimes.
Okay.
The creator and TV producer of the TV shows.
I am so happy you're mentioning people like I am so happy.
Yes, I didn't pick scientists.
Oh, okay. Shonda Rhimes, yes.
Yes, my year of yes.
Okay. Love it.
And I read that book when I just turned 40, right?
You turned 40?
Just the other day.
Okay.
But I think it was very timely.
Yeah.
Because I was really coming into my own and in my own groove and owning myself.
Yeah.
Good, bad, ugly, mistakes and all. And here, now that's somebody who I'm looking at and be like, wow, she's made it.
Yeah.
To that level, right? Yeah. She owned Thursday TV night.
Yeah.
Right? And I think it was her, and it was her journey of her giving permission. It was her year of yes, of saying yes to everything. New experiences, new. And I did that. And I think it was a phenomenal self-development for me. Number 2 is Michelle Obama's Becoming.
Okay. I love it because becoming Michelle Obama, becoming CEO, yeah, great people.
And I think for me, that was also, these are women who are professionals, super smart, top in their respective domains, but are juggling motherhood, are juggling every other family responsibility. And I really saw a reflection of what my life is in their story. So Becoming was also something I think very timely for me. And then my very, very favorite book, I would say, since I was a teenager. I have so many, right? I have a whole library. So you're asking me when you say top 3. Yeah. Is Shogun. You should read it. Because I can see you don't. By James Clavell.
So I know the show.
No, read the book.
Okay.
Read the book.
Shogun.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a much better experience than the show.
Yeah.
Yes. There
is
a book. There is.
Shogun by?
James Clavell.
Okay.
And I read that as a teenager. First of all, when I look at, my preteen, I'm like, who in the world allowed me to read books? But I was the kid who had read all the books in the school library. Then you finish all the ones for your age.
Yeah.
Then you start going to the ones that are supposed to be for older kids. Then you finish those ones. Then, so this was my happy problem to have.
Okay.
So I started every person's book library at home, everybody who liked to read, if they ever had 5 books or 3 books, I'd pick one.
Okay.
And then I read Shogun. And I think it was just the imagination, the depth, and the richness of a culture that was so far away from my lived reality in Kenya, because it's based in Japan, right?
Yes.
Really gave me an appreciation as to how different people are, but also what are the similarities in human experience. Yeah.
You should have been creative. You should have been a filmmaker. How are all your favorite books apart from one? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your mantra? What's that one line you keep telling yourself that keeps you going every day?
I think, yeah, my mantra definitely is I get up every day, and the day that I will stop is the day that any mother anywhere can receive quality health care without forsaking her dream of tomorrow. That's when I'll stop.
That's deep. That's profound. That is, yeah. I think that will keep me going every day. Thank you for that. And by all means, we're here cheering you on, and we hope you actually achieve that, because the day you achieve that, this country will be healed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Until then,
Yeah.
we keep fighting the fight.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on this show. Right? Daktari, karibu.
All right.
This way. So, welcome to the CEO's seat. This one comes, it can relax. And, what is recline? Yes.
Okay.
That's the word I was looking for.
Uh-huh.
There are your questions.
All right.
I hope it's as comfy as your seat. A seat of
Close.
power. Close. Tunajaribu. Sasa, take it away.
All right.
And you stick to this camera.
Okay. So it's one of each color, and it's questions coming from you. Okay. Do you think better in silence, or do you need a soundtrack in your workspace? Ooh. So if I'm getting through mundane tasks, then silence works well. But if I'm really in the thick of being creative, then for sure, music needs to be part and parcel of it. The louder, the better. Gets me pumping, gets my brain cells jumping, and then suddenly I get a lot of clarity. So, especially when I'm building strategy, definitely, soundtrack has to be on. All right, next color is pink, my favorite color. What is the first thing you reach for when you get into the workspace? Oh my gosh, my cup of coffee. I think it's a running joke that I can't move, function, or I'm just a nicer person once I've had my cup of coffee. So for everybody's safety concerned, it's the first thing, it's the first sip, and it settles me down. Then I get moving. Okay, last color. If your workspace had a title, what would it be? I've been thinking of actually making a sign for it. So this is an interesting question. It would be unscripted. There is no box when it comes to my workspace. Anything is on the table, nothing is off the table. I think that's when I'm most creative, but it also is an invitation to everybody else. When you come into my space, bring your A game, bring your best ideas. So, unscripted.
Okay.
Thank you.
Love it.